Ohio State faces Oregon in its first matchup game of the season at 7:30 on NBC in Eugene, Oregon, Austin Stadium. I'm Stephen Means, that's Stefan, Krajisnik, and that's Andrew Gillis. We'll all be there to watch the Buckeyes and the Oregon Ducks. The Buckeyes favored by 3 points with an over-under of 54 heading into the Saturday night's game. Stefan, what is your game score?
Yeah, Ohio State covering. I have them winning 31-20. I think it's a game that, maybe going into the fourth quarter will still be, within a possession or so. But I think Ohio State's going to, lead most of the game and be in a pretty comfortable spot and get a late score to really pull away and win by a couple possessions. We talked about it a ton on Buckeye Talk. I just think Ohio State's the better team, the better roster, and through 5 games this season has just looked better. I got questions about Oregon, and maybe they answer a lot of those questions and pull off an upset. But going into this game, I just think Ohio State's the better team, and I've got them covering with some relative ease.
So you said a cover and an under or
That's
over?
An under, yeah.
Okay, cover and an under. That's kind of been what Ohio State's been living all year. 31-20 for Stefan. Andrew, what's your game score?
We all like crock-pot foods, and I think Ohio State's in for a crock-potting on Saturday when they play Oregon.
Sounds suggestive.
I think Ohio State is going to win 35-20 over Oregon. I think this is going to be a game where very early on you get the sense Ohio State has more talent. Very early on you get the sense Ohio State's a better team. I think Ohio State's going to run the ball pretty effectively. I think if they run the ball very well, I think we're in blowout territory at that point. I don't think we're going to get there. Oregon has a lot of really good players on their defensive line. We've talked about them all week. Jordan Birch, obviously, the most significant example of that. But I think Ohio State's run game definitely that changes my mind about a lot going on here, right? I think Ohio State has run the ball pretty effectively in the first couple of games. I know they've run the ball pretty effectively. They've got weapons on the outside, and that's where I think Oregon's their conflict really starts. It's, if you weren't running the ball really well, you could just focus on stopping their great receivers. If they were running the ball really well, but they didn't have those guys on the outside, then you're talking about, okay, we can adjust accordingly there. But I just think Ohio State has one too many things for Oregon to be able to handle. Now, I think Oregon's a really good team. I just think Ohio State is that next level, right? I think this is kind of the game that they've been working towards, that they've been talking about for months. This says more, I think, about what I think of Ohio State than it does for Oregon. So Ohio State, I think they're going to win by 15 points. I think that they're going to win this one pretty comfortably. I don't think we're going to be dealing with kind of a nail biter in the fourth quarter, kind of like we saw last year with Notre Dame in the Michigan game. I think Ohio State wins this one pretty comfortably. I think Oregon's a really good team. I think Oregon's building something really, really unique there. Really big fan of what Dan Lanning is doing in Eugene. I think Oregon's going to be a problem for college football moving forward. They will not be a problem in a significant way for Ohio State on Saturday.
And you're barely under. Barely under in that situation. 33-17.
That'd be over, yeah.
You said 35-20.
Yeah, over under 54.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm a journalist.
That would be 55, Stephen.
Yeah, I don't do math. It is what it is. That's an over. 33-17, Ohio State's going to win this game. Did you know Ohio State's only given up like 10 points in the second half so far this year? They've given up 34 points, but only 10 points in the second half. Meanwhile, here's the number. Here's the quarterly breakdown. Shout out to Tony Gerben over at Buckeye Huddle. He put this on Twitter. Well, formerly known as Twitter. 45-10 in the first quarter, 66-14 in the second quarter, 84-3 in the third quarter, 35-7 in the fourth quarter. So Stefan's laughing. It's because that third quarter, it's almost like the Golden State Warriors in the heyday of the Golden State Warriors, where it's like, oh, the third quarter Warriors have arrived. This game is now over. I think that's how this game is going to play out. I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight for about a quarter and a half there. But you've heard coaches mention this a lot this year, that middle eight, which is essentially the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. Ohio State has thrived in that middle eight, and I think we're going to see it again this week where I think Oregon is good. I just think they're going to get welcomed to the Big Ten in a very different way than USC got welcomed to the Big Ten. USC's was more, hey, you don't have it in the trenches. Oregon's is more like, hey, you're a really good football team. You're just not up here with us yet. Plus, we're on a mission. We're on a little bit of a revenge tour, and this also kind of includes Oregon because this group also lost to Oregon when they were true freshmen, the seniors on this team. So it's kind of a side gig, a side mission on the way to the actual mission, which is beating the bricks out of Michigan and winning a national championship. Ohio State's been really good in the middle eight. And I am wondering if, just like we've seen for the last couple of weeks, Jim Knowles goes in at halftime, figures out what Oregon is doing, and they stifle them. Meanwhile, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are just running all over Oregon. And so Ohio State walks away with a game that was never 4 quarters. Never 4 quarters. And I think that's how we're all talking about this game. It's not a 4-quarter game. It's a good game, but it's not a 4-quarter game. I'm also under, and I'm taking Ohio State with the points. So that's 2 unders, 1 over, all saying Ohio State is going to cover that 3-point spread. I'm at Steven, that's Andrew, that's Stefan. Get the text 614-350-3315, 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Go listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you find podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a part of a bigger pod. So go find that. And also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ohio State, Oregon, Saturday. See you after the game.